Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is Angel from Simply Angel Tia, and in this video we're working on this simple beginner friendly bolero that you see here. I did one bolero like this a while back. I've done a few obviously on the channel, but one that is very similar to this is the one I will show you guys on the picture here, which was done in acrylic, and it was also done in black, and obviously different stitch or different pattern. And I wanted to do another one but just using a completely different pattern and also using cotton yarn, especially for the summer. And this is what we're going to be working on, so I hope you guys will enjoy. With the amount of yarn that I used, as you will see, I will talk about it at the end as well, but I did use 4.5 skeins of what I'm about to show you on the next clip. So for those of you who are using the same type of yarn, then depending on your size, you will need minimum 4, because I am a small, which is what this bolero is. And so you will probably need minimum 4, and then based on your size being bigger than that, you will need more yarn. Okay, but anyways, I used 4.5 for mine, so I'll go ahead and talk about the materials including the yarn. So see you guys in a bit. Okay my lovelies, so for this project we're just using one color, and I've chosen to go with this red cotton yarn here. So obviously for your project you can use any color of your choice, and this yarn is We Heart yarn by Hobby. It's 100% cotton, and it is 50 grams or 75 meters for a skein like this. So you will obviously need a few. And then it is lightweight number 3, and recommended hook size is 3.5 to 4 millimeter crochet hook, or US E4 to G6. And then of course, as you can see here, this is red. Let me see if they have an actual, I think they have a color number here instead of a name, but as you can see, it's red. So I have about 6 of this. I got it in a package. I think I used some on something else, and I have 6 of this. I think it's gonna be more than plenty, because as you can see, the end result, it is not going to be that big of a project to do. We're just doing a nice simple summer bolero. Okay, for a crochet hook size, I'm actually using one a little bit bigger. I'm using 4.25 millimeter crochet hook, or G6 US. And the reason I'm going a little bit higher is just because to me, it would not make a difference with that 0.25. But if you're a beginner, please go with the recommended hook size. I have some pins here that I'll be using for stitch markers. I have my darning needle here. I have my scissors, and I have my tape measure to be able to determine our sizes. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay my lovelies, so before we get started, because I'm gonna show you this project in a sample form, I'm going to show you one of the panels that I've kind of worked on, and pretty much is kind of towards the end. And as you can see here, this is pretty much the pattern we're going to create. Okay, so this is the design that I'm going for, as you can see here. And because this is cotton yarn, it's extremely light. But this is what we're going for. But I'm gonna be showing this to you in a sample form. So what I did here is I have 11 rows. After your foundation chain, I have 11 rows so far. I may add just one more row, just to increase the height of the bolero here a little bit. But if I take my tape measure and measure what I have so far, just so you guys can have an idea, I'm at 6 inches. So I could probably leave it here, or I could go to like 6.5, but 6.5 is not gonna make a difference. So for you, what you will do is you will place your tape measure just on top of your shoulder, or like right under, actually under the by the collarbone, and then drop it down to where you want it to go. So for me, I don't want my bolero to go past my bust, so it's gonna just kind of pass on top of my bust like this, so that if I'm wearing like a tank top or anything, you can kind of, you see that kind of cleavage, as you have guys seen in the pictures here. And I will show you guys another one that I have done before. I will maybe put it at the intro of this video, but you will kind of get an idea of how I want it to look, because that one that I made back I think 2 years ago, in black, like it's that's the idea that I'm going for. But I'm obviously doing this in completely different stitches, and then also a completely different color. Okay, so with that said, so this is one panel that I have already kind of worked on off-site, and because I wanted to do just a sample to show you guys how to do one, and then that way the tutorial is not that long and the video is not that long. So with that, I'm gonna put these away, and then I'm gonna show you guys a sample of how I do, or how I started with mine. So the first thing you want to do is you want to measure, because we're working on this the long way. So from your wrist here to the other wrist, you have to have somebody help you measure that, and then add a couple of inches. I would say add about 2 to 3 inches on each side, because when you do bring your arms along your body, then that, when you stretch your arms to measure, it's no longer going to be the same size when you drop your arms to your side. So you don't want your bolero to be a little bit croppy in the sleeves when you wear it. So anyways, so with that said, I'm going to show you guys how to begin it. So after you've measured and you see how long you go from one wrist to the other, you will then decide how many chains you want to do based on that length. And as long as you do multiples of 4, okay? So start by multiples of 4, and then when you get to that number, we will go ahead and talk about the rest of it. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is, for this sample, I'm gonna do a chain of 48, because that's my multiples of 4. And so I'm gonna start with a slip knot, just like this. I'll bring in my hook, and I will do my slip knot like that. And then I will start my chain of 48 for this sample. For the panel that I have kind of almost finished there, I did a chain of 200. So 200 takes me from here to here with enough looseness that I'm not gonna have it as cropped on the sleeves. But for you, it's gonna be any number as long as you add, you go by multiples of those 4, okay? So I'm gonna start my chain here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so this is my chain of 48 here, and it is for my sample. And then what I will do after that 48 is I would add 2 more chains. So I'm gonna go 1, 2. Then I'm gonna skip 3 chains. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. And in the 4th right here, I'm gonna go ahead and do a double crochet, but I'm gonna go into the back of that chain and complete a double crochet like this. So my chain 3 that I skipped here does count as a stitch, and it counts as a double crochet. And then now I have 2, because I have my chain 3 and I have the double crochet I just did. I'm gonna do a chain of 2. I'm gonna skip 2 chains, or 1, 2. In the 3rd here, I'm gonna do a double crochet, but I'll go in the back of that chain and complete a double crochet. And then I will go into the next stitch and complete a double crochet. So I have 2 double crochets back to back here. And then I'll do a chain of 2, and I'll skip 2 stitches. So 1, 2, 1, 2. In the 3rd, again, I'll grab the back loop, or the back of the foundation chain, and complete a double crochet, and then a double crochet right next to it. So there's 2 double crochets. So again, as you guys can see, we're just creating that pattern that I showed you in the panel that I have completed. And as you can see, it has this nice look to it because of us doing this stitch that I'm showing you guys here. Let me just grab that here. So we're trying to create this here, as you can see. We're pretty much doing 2 double crochets, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, do 2 double crochets, and that's what is gonna be the consistency of the whole bolero. So very easy, again, for beginners. Okay, so again, I do a chain of 2, I skip 2 stitches. In the 3rd, I do a double crochet, and then a double crochet right beside it, and then I just do that all the way to the end. Okay, so go ahead and do the same. When you reach the end, if you have maybe some stitches that are a little bit off, sometimes you think you have the right number of stitches, but you don't, come back. I want to just show you guys how to do a workaround, because there's no need to undo the whole thing, start over, especially if you're doing a chain of 200 or plus. It's a lot of chains to do. It's annoying to count. So instead of kind of undoing the whole thing to fix that, come back. I will show you a workaround on how to not have to bother with all of that, okay? I will see you guys in a minute. Okay, my lovelies, so I have just worked my first row here, as you can see. So again, just I kind of knew something like this was gonna happen, but there's 2 extra stitches here. It doesn't matter how I count these things, I always end up having some kind of mistake, but I've kind of come to realization that I don't have to always have that 100% matching all the time, whether it's a mistake I made while I was counting my stitches, or sometimes I just miss I just don't realize that I actually did not maybe need 2 stitches at some point because my counting was not correct. So you have 2 options here. One option is that you skip this stitch and you go into the final stitch and do 2 stitches. So I'll show you how. So you just go into that final stitch here and do your 2 double crochets, but you do it in the same stitch. I'll show you. Or the other option is to just leave it and you can undo the stitch, you can undo the slip knot, the end here. Oops, I need to do my chain of 2 in between. So chain 2, and then you can go into that final stitch and do 2 double crochets in 1. So you could do it like this. So this is a workaround that I don't mind because after all, like, it's not gonna make a big difference how it looks here, because when you start to work the rest of it, you fix that. The other option is you stop here. So this will be your last stitch here, and at the end you can undo the slip knot. So the slip knot that we did here to begin our work, if you undo that, you can actually undo your last final stitches. So I'll show you how to do that. And this way, you just don't have to really bother too much. And then when you do your second panel, you can just make sure you do 2 less chains, and that's going to be how you fix the second panel. I obviously knotted it extremely strong, so now I'm having difficulties undoing that, and look at my nail bending. If I can undo that, it will be nice, because I'm trying to show you guys a workaround, so I kind of have to follow through now. I don't have a choice. Okay, let's see. And also with cotton yarn, it's very rigid, like it's not slippery like acrylic. It doesn't come out as easily as you want it to be. Okay, I think I got it here. If I undo that, and then I undo the next one like this, then I will undo that final one like this. Yep, and we make sure we don't undo the final one here, because you don't want your work to kind of go off here. Okay, and there you go, and you can just leave it like this. So this will pretty much kind of fix that so that it looks like this was your final stitch here. Okay, I hope that helped. I know it took a while to kind of figure that out together, but yeah, this is 2 choices you have. For me, I tend to go with the choice of removing, if there's only 1 or 2 stitches, I remove it. But let's say there was 3, I would have probably skipped 2 and then done 2 double crochets in the final stitch together, so it looked like you're doing you're putting 2 stitches together. But just know these small workarounds so that you don't have to be stressed over, oh, I don't have enough number of chains, or I did 1 extra chain and I have to undo the whole thing to fix that. So like this, you just kind of fix it without really removing too many chains. Okay, all right, I'll show you how to do row 2. We start by doing a chain of 3, and then we turn, and then we're going to go into this stitch here is connected to this, so we're not going to go into that. We're going to go into the next stitch, which is on top of that double crochet right here. Okay, and we go ahead and finish that, and then I will do a chain of 2, skip my chain of 2, go on top of the next stitch and do double crochet, and then do a double crochet in the next stitch like this, and then chain 2, skip 2 chain 2 spots, the 2 chain 2 from the previous spot, go ahead and do your double crochets on top of the previous double crochets. And this is easy because you don't have to count, and you don't have to it's a very mindless, I guess, project is what I'm trying to say, is that you don't have to worry too much, or where is the stitch going, where is that going, because at this point you just have to remember to do your chain of 2 and then go directly on top of the 2 double crochets and do your 2 double crochets on top of those. So very easy, very fast to do as well, because it's a very easy stitch and it's very repetitive. So you will just be able to kind of do your thing, and within a couple of hours you can probably have your bolero ready to be worn out. So anyways, so and then I just continue to repeat this, and I'll take you guys all the way to the end here, because I want to show you guys how to work that final stitch, because sometimes depending on if you're going into the right stitch, it may make your work a little bit crooked, but I want to show you guys how to do that final stitch. And then I'll pretty much kind of like go and work on my second panel, because I already finished one, and then you guys will be starting your main full panel, because I'm showing you guys as a sample. But if you're following along, then you would have done a chain that is really long to go from one side of your arm to the other, or of your hand to the other. And if you're doing this for anybody, it's just easy to measure to fit. So that's why I always have my tape measure and explain to you guys how to measure for your size, so that it's easy for you to make it for a child. You can make it for a grown-up person. You can make it for any size. You could go from extra small to extra large, you know, like that kind of stuff. So yeah, anywho, so I'm coming to the end here, and as you can see, I have my final double crochets at the end here. I did my chain 2, so I'm gonna obviously go on top of that double crochet and complete my double crochet. And then for the chain 3 that we began, that we skipped, I'm going to go on top of that chain 3, so just right on the very top of it. So I have chain 1, chain 2, and then the third one is where I put my hook through to finish my final double crochet, like that. Okay, and then I chain 3, and your chain 3 will always count as a stitch, and in this case it counts as a double crochet. Oh, I want to answer something. So I have somebody who asked me, I will answer her in a comment, but somebody asked me why I turn clockwise and not anti-clockwise, which I had to read the comment more than once, or like twice, to see what she meant by that. And I'm still not sure if she's talking about when I turn my work, but she's like, oh, but why do you turn clockwise and not anti-clockwise? So for me, after I do my chains, I don't turn, I turn like this, because now I'm working on the back. To me, this was the front, and then I'm going to work like, looks like the back. So I wasn't sure what she meant by why do you turn. Maybe she meant like, why not like this? I'm not sure. So, but yeah, you get a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people who crochet, you do your chains, you turn like this, especially if you're right-handed. But you could also just do that and then do this. To me, it's the same thing. You're just going from one side to the other. Like if I start crocheting like this, I don't think there's any difference from how I did do it and how you would do it if you go the other opposite direction. Anyways, and then we just continue to repeat this. So it's a 1 row repeat. The whole project is a 1 row repeat, and then you just continue to do this until you have the length that you want. The length as in the width of your work. Okay, so the length is obviously like this, which is from arm or from wrist to wrist, and then the wideness here would be your width, or how long you want it to be. So you just work these back and forth, and then when you finish that, you do your second panel. You want to do the panel the exact same way that you did the first, because we're repeating 2 exact panels, because at the end we want 2 panels to be able to lay flat and be able to join, to section out our neckline, section out our torso, or the top part of the bottom part of our body, and then that's it. So like I said, I have 11 rows here. I will probably do 1 more row just to have a little bit of an increase, but right now I have 6 inches here, which I think is plenty for what I'm trying to aim for. But why not just do 1 more row? Who cares? But yeah, so just work your panels like this. When you finish one, do the second, and then when you have both of your panels, come back to the video, and then I will pretty much show you how to section out our neckline, and then the bottom, and then we join, and then we're done. That's pretty much how simple this project is, but mostly because I wanted to show you guys this stitch that I love so much. This mesh stitch is so cute because it's very uniform. You get to see everything lining up properly. Okay, I will see you guys when you have your 2 panels, so I can go ahead and show you guys how to join. See you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my 2 panels here for the Bolero. And as you can see, this is one that I finished first. The only difference between what I showed you previously is that I increased the number of rows to 12. So instead of 11, which I had when I showed you guys in the last clip, instead of those 11, I have 12 now. So it just increases the size a little bit, not that much at all, because one extra row doesn't make too much of a big difference. But I don't know why, I just wanted to kind of have 12 rows, so that's what I have there. So anyway, so to remeasure that here, as you can see, it's about 6.5 that we have now. Instead of 6 inches, we have 6.5 for the width of our work, okay? Now I am going to go ahead, so as you can see as well, just to kind of proactively work ahead, this is what I've decided is going to be for my neckline from here to here, okay? So which means when I join my 2 panels together, I want this amount of space left so that my head can come through here. And also I measured out what my torso is going to be. So this is where my body is going to come right after my bust. This is what my length is gonna be from one armpit to the other. Okay, so again, not too loose, but and not too tight either. Okay, so I'm gonna just do some measurements here for those of you who like to know the measurements. So if I measure the bottom part, I have about 15 inches from pin to pin here. I have 15 inches, which means I wanted my torso to be about 30 altogether. So it's gonna go to about 30 inches for my circumference like this. And then for the neckline, I am having about 10 inches, which means 10 inches here, 10 inches on either side. So that's the hole for where my head is gonna come through, and then it's gonna go from my shoulder blade to the other shoulder blade. Okay, all right, so now that I have already measured that here, I'm gonna pretty much count the number of stitches to get to the same spot. I'm gonna put them together, and then I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to join. I've already also threaded my needle here. I'm just kind of working a little bit proactively so that I don't take too long for a video. I know I do extremely long videos, but because I really like to explain the details. But for something simple like this, that's why I wanted to do one panel before and then do the second panel. So anyways, I just kind of worked ahead and figured out my sizing so I could come and explain to you. And so I'm going to go ahead and kind of match it up, and then we're going to go ahead and join. So I'll see you guys when I have done that. Okay, my lovely, so I just kind of lined up the 2 pieces together. So as you can see, I put the pins that is attaching both sides so that I have the opening here. And for the neckline as well, I have attached the 2 panels with the pins, and then I have the neckline here. So the only thing we have to do now is just kind of line up our work on one end and then just join all the way to the stitch marker, and then cut that off, go to the other side, start on the outside always when you join. We're gonna start on this outside, go all the way to this end, and then do the same in the bottom. We're gonna go from this end here all the way to here, and then and the opposite side as well. Okay, so again, I'm not gonna show you guys how to do all of that, but I'm gonna show you guys how to just join really quick, and then that way you can do the rest of it, and you can switch the yarn whenever you have to join on the other side. So the way I join is, this is our chain 3 that we began the row, or whatever this row was. I'm just gonna go on top of that chain 3 like this, and then I'm gonna go on the first stitch on the other side like this. Then I'm gonna pull that through, and what I will do here is I will knot it so that I don't lose my yarn while I join. Okay, so I'll just do like a knot here. 1, I'll do 2 and 2. Okay, and then the rest of it, I just literally line up my stitches. So I have my stitches all across. So the very first stitch that I'm gonna go into is this one here. I'm gonna pull that through, and then I'm gonna go into the next and grab the next stitch here, bring that through, and then I just go all the way to the stitch marker. There's a stitch I have to work into the stitch marker, so I'll do to remove the stitch marker, work join that the stitches there, and then I will cut the yarn And remember, just finish it up with a slip knot at the end there, and then you're gonna cut the yarn off, move your joining to the other side and do the same, and then do all 4 sides. So you have the top, 2 on the top and then 2 in the bottom. And when everything is joined, you're gonna come back to the video, or actually what you will do as well while you're still off camera is weaving all of your ends. So if you have any ends like this, for example, we're gonna weave them in or cut them off or whatever the case is. So in other words, what I'm saying is by the time that you come back after this clip, we're gonna come back to finish off the video, because we will come back with final product. Okay, so I will see you guys when you have joined your 2 panels in the appropriate places. Okay, my lovelies, so I've gone ahead and completed joining my bolero. So the 2 panels are now joined into what is our final project. And as you can see here, this is where my neckline will be, and then down here is where my torso will come through. So all that is done, and as you can see, just very nice and simple. And then your arms obviously go through here, come out on the other side, the same thing on this side here. Very nice, beautiful pattern. I'll probably do other projects using this pattern, to be honest, because I kind of like it a lot, especially for summer stuff, maybe even some bikini covers and things like that. But yeah, this is pretty much it. So we have completed the project. For those of you interested in how much yarn I used 4.5 skeins altogether. It's almost like one of the panels was 2, and then 2 on the other side, and then there was just one that I ended up doing, especially when I increased my rows from 11 to 12. I ended up using some of the other yarn to finish off those rows. But yeah, that's pretty much it here. Thank you so much, guys, for watching the video to the end. Please do give me recommendations of things that you want me to do, whether it's summer things, winter things, theme things, whatever it is that you would like me to try, and I'll definitely give it a shot. But yeah, this is pretty much the end of this one here. Thank you so much for watching the video to the end. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.